everyone, welcome back to today's video. I'm super excited to do my January wrap up and share. I believe I read 7 books, which I feel like is a pretty great way to start off the new year. So I'm just super excited to share what some of those books are. And if you are interested, keep watching. And if you are new here, welcome to my channel, and I hope you possibly consider subscribing. We're getting even closer to 1,000 subscribers. I'm so excited. And thank you to those of you who have subscribed recently in just the past month and the past couple of months. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. So let's get into today's video. And I have to always look on my Goodreads because I can never remember, and then I'm also terrible at names of characters, you will realize. Like, I remember like the feeling, the emotion, how I felt about it, but I'm terrible at remembering names. So I always have to check my phone. And I'll have my Goodreads link down below if you're wondering, like you want to know what I'm reading or what's on my list and things like that, then I'll have it linked down below if you're interested. This month ended up being essentially a month of romance and then a series is pretty much what happened. So the first book that I read, and I always say I don't have all of these in print, some of them on my Kindle and whatnot, so I'll just share it on the screen. First romance, or the first book that I read was a romance, and it was called What the Cat Dragged In. And I believe this was actually part of I think it's a duology, but I didn't know that. I just like saw it on my library shelf and I was like, why not? It looks like a cute romance and it has cats in it. And so as an owner of 3 cats, I was like, why not? And I read it. I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. I felt like it wasn't horrible, but it just was kind of lacking for me. So the preface of the story is that there is this woman, Paige, and she works at a cat cafe, kind of creating their events and organizing things, and she works there with her best friend Lauren, who like is co-owner, owns the cat cafe. And Lauren has a brother named Josh. And also, I seriously feel like I've read like so many books with the main character Josh. Like, can we please come up with a new name for 2022 for like the male romance or male leads? Like, no more Joshes. I literally felt like I read 3 books in a row that had Josh in it. So anyway, but Paige is Lauren's friend, and she happens to meet Josh. She's not aware that he is Lauren's brother, and so they end up clicking, and there's then she realizes, oh my gosh, this is her brother. And so they have a connection, they want to be together. And so there's kind of the element of the forbidden romance situation going on, which it could have been interesting. And again, the story was not horrible, but I just felt like there wasn't really like much to the development of the story. I feel like there was so much focus on, and then Paige just kind of freaking out and constantly worrying about, what will Lauren think? Like, she's my friend. Well, what will she think? And she's just like over analyzing and freaking out in her head about what Lauren will think, and panicking and going back and forth. And to an extent, like, I understand that that's part of the story, but I felt like that was like the biggest story, like the biggest part of it, and that was pretty much it. And it just felt like it went on too long for me, and it just kind of was like, okay, we get it. I feel like there could be more to the story besides Paige freaking out and overanalyzing what could happen. So I don't know, it was just kind of like a 3 out of 5 for me. It wasn't horrible, but it definitely, like, it took me a while. I kind of put it down for a few weeks, picked it back up, and finished it in January. So it was okay, but do I think you need to run out and like write it out? No, I don't think so. The next book I read was the second book for me by the author Emily Henry. I read Beach Read, and I read I think I have it here, People We Meet on Vacation, in December, and I really loved it. That was my first Emily Henry book. And so then I decided to read Beach Read, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I know everyone's always like, which do you? I think I personally prefer People We Meet on Vacation. I just kind of connected more with the characters. Although honestly, Beach Read is also really good. I flew through that, I think, in 2 days. I love it. And it definitely, like, I have good, you know, ideas and like feelings of Emily Henry as an author. I'm really excited for her new upcoming book that's being released. Is it Book Lovers? I forget. I know it's about books. I can't remember, but I'm super excited for that one. And so I'm definitely going to be picking up and reading it and see how it is. But I'm sure you probably already know what Beach Read is all about, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but read it. I think it's good. I recommend it. I think it's really good. Okay, the next book that I read that I also heard a lot about last year and I finally got around to it was One of Us is Lying. And I was excited to read it because I know it's like a young adult kind of like a murder mystery or like not like thriller, I guess. It's more like of a whodunit mystery situation. But basically it's a story of these 4 friends, I believe, and they are in high school. They get sent to detention, and by the end of detention, one of them, Simon, and I'm not giving it away, like this is the premise of the book, is that on the back it says that. So it just says that Simon is dead. And so now they're like, who did it? Like, you know, you were all in the room, what happened? And so you're trying to figure out what exactly is the connection between these 4 different, it's kind of like Breakfast Club kind of ish vibes situation. And so it's based kind of on that, and they're all very different people, but yet somehow they're kind of all connected, and then figuring out what is the connection to Simon and who, like, how did he die, who killed him. And so I will say I enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5. I liked it. It did keep me hooked and I wanted to, you know, keep reading more. I did enjoy it. The only thing is that I did feel like, it was funny because I was telling my husband I was starting this book and I kind of read, you know, told him what it's about. And he was like, we were like, who do you think did it or whatever, trying to like get guesses. And then me and my husband were like, would this be a crazy plot? And like we said it, which is what it was, and I was like, dang it, like we thought, I don't know, so we guessed like the plot before, which it still was interesting to read and I liked it, but then we read it, I was like, oh my gosh, we were right, like before we even read the book, we guessed it like correctly. And so it was really interesting, but it's still, I did enjoy the twists and the turns in the story and getting to know all the different characters. And I know that they also made a show on Peacock, I believe, and I tried, because I was really, you know, I read the book and then I wanted to watch the show to see kind of how it's similar or different. I just didn't really get into it very much, maybe because I just preferred reading the book. I don't know, which obviously, right, like the problem of a reader. The characters were kind of different in the show. I do have to say that I felt like Simon, the character for Simon in the one episode that I watched, I feel like he was done really well, the actor who portrayed him. So I thought it was done really well. I felt like he kind of was how I imagined his character to be. But yeah, let me know your thoughts if you've watched the show. I haven't finished it because I just kind of was like, I don't know. Like, I read the book, I liked the book better, and I wasn't super like into the show, but I know that the show is on Peacock, so if you want to read it and then watch it. And I am on hold, I'm trying to read the sequel to it, which I forget what it's called, but I'm hoping to read that soon. But it was a good read, I really liked it, I recommend it, it's fun. It definitely kept you engaged, so 4 out of 5 stars for that one. And then the next one I read was also a contemporary romance, and it's A Lot Like Adios, and I believe it technically was the second book of, I think the first one was You Had Me at Hola, I think is what it is. And so, but I hadn't read the first one, I've heard of it, but I hadn't, but I just saw the second one at my library on display for new books, and I was like, I'm just gonna read it. Okay, this story follows two people that they had grown up together, so it's kind of like enemies, or no, it was like friends to like, they grew apart, not enemies, but kind of like at each other, to lovers again, to like, so it was an interesting trope. I liked it. And I always like the childhood friends, and you know, they come back. I like that in stories. And so it follows the story of Michelle and Gabriel, and so they had grown up together, they were best friends, and they, you know, just like did life together from the time they were really little. And then something happens, and basically right after like high school, and he leaves, and he's been gone, I think it's for like 9 years, like 0 contact, not seeing him at all, and he's been gone this whole time. And now they're, you know, she's like a marketing kind of person, that she does like marketing for companies and stuff, and like social media and all that stuff. And he has, like, he owns a gym, and he's trying to start up this other gym in New York. So somehow, like, him and Michelle, they got connected because she does marketing, you know, and he wants marketing for his business and whatnot. And so now there's this like, he's returning back to New York, to where she is. And so they obviously like you know, see each other and like all that tension, like what's happening and what's going to happen. And I really enjoyed the story. It wasn't my favorite. Like, I gave it 3 out of 5. Again, I felt like it was a good romance. I enjoyed the story, but I also felt like, I don't know, something was missing from it for me. I don't know what exactly. And I recommend it. I liked it. I enjoyed the characters. I liked the setting. I also love that there was like some Spanish mixed in by a Latina author. So I enjoyed that. And it's fun to have that, just like different cultural representations in books, which I really enjoyed. But I don't know, there's just something about it that was missing for me. And I might check out the first one because I've heard good things about that one. So I might have to check out that one and see if that one was better. But I'm pretty sure there's also going to be a third one because there's 3 cousins, and so it follows a story for each of the cousins. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be another one coming out. Is it later next year? I don't remember exactly the date, but I'm pretty sure there is another one. So 3 out of 5 for that one. I enjoyed, I recommend it, but it's not like my favorite, you know, romance or favorite book so far of the year. Okay, and then the last 3 books that I read this month were, I got into a series, which is always very hyped about and talked about on like YouTube or Book Talk or anywhere with books. And it is the Shatter Me series. And I didn't really know what this was about, but I was really intrigued because I think it's, you know, I was told it's kind of like dystopian, which I really, really enjoy dystopian young adult books, like young adult fantasy dystopian books. There's just something about the dystopian element that I seem to really gel with, and I really like those books a lot, you know, like Hunger Games and Insurgent and like The Red Queen and all that. I really enjoy that element of dystopia and like whatever, you know, could come later when the world like basically implodes on itself. So I really enjoyed it. I got the first one at Target. I read it pretty quick, and I know like some people, you know, it's like with every book there's always, but some people like didn't really like it or how it was written. And I do have to say that a lot of like the crossed out things, you know, in the book, and I know there's like a note from the author that that's like part of describing how Juliet is like feeling as part of her writing and how she's explaining herself, which I get that. I feel like I can correlate, but it was kind of crazy to always have to read the scratched out parts. But it definitely, I feel like, got better, and I did enjoy the story. So I got the first one, I read it, and then our library had it like on the shelf, so I don't want to have to wait to buy because our Target didn't have any of the other books. So I just got the next 2 in the series. I did also enjoy them. I liked them. I thought it was good. I like the development. But my favorite, honestly, is I love Kenji so much. He is just so funny, and he's like exactly what these books need. I have not read the other 3. I have them from my library, but I have not read them yet. So I swear, if something happens to Kenji, I'm gonna be super, super upset. I'm not looking. I don't know any spoilers or anything, but I swear, so help me, if something happens to him, I will be so upset. Anyway, but yeah, he's by far my favorite, but I love this. And if you're not sure what the series is, essentially it follows this girl Juliet, and like I said, it's in the dystopian time, and there is why can I never remember things, but basically there's like the reestablishment, and it's kind of like what's the controlling government, and they kind of just control how everyone lives, where they live, and who, like, if you go against them, people get killed. And so Juliet has this thing where basically she cannot touch people because she can like basically kill them with her touch, and so that's why it says like my touch is lethal. But basically it's her discovery, and so she has been like shut up, and like she has been like put away and stuff. So it's kind of following her story. I won't give too much of it away, but it's pretty good. I recommend it. Sorry you guys, I had to switch out my memory card, so if it changed a little bit. But the series, that's kind of how it follows the story, and there is some romance elements to it as well. But it's kind of her Juliet discovering, because with her not being able to touch people, like obviously there's that element of like the physical touch of contact with people, but just also the fear of being like seen as kind of like a monster or something crazy, and like just not having that connection to people, and then slowly just learning who she is and like what can be seen as like maybe it's actually helpful for her, like in a way it's a power. And it always, I heard like a few times where it's kind of like seeing it as kind of like X-Men and dystopian thing, which I definitely kind of see that. Like I'm like, oh yeah, like as I started reading more into the story, I'm like, I can kind of see like that X-Men, you know, situation. But like I said, I really enjoyed the series. I thought they were really good. I think I gave them 4 out of 5 stars for those books, and I'm excited to read the other ones. But yeah, so let me know your thoughts down below. Have you read this series? How do you feel about it? And do you have a favorite one out of the whole series of the 6 books? Well, technically there's also novellas, I think, too, but like 6 main books. And I also kind of just really enjoyed the whole eye thing. I think it's really cool that each eye is like a different one, like the book. I kind of like that. I think it looks really cool. So anyway, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching my video, and hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit about the books that I read, maybe get some ideas for your TBR, and I will see you in the next video. Bye everyone.